I have a lot. We'll be
Right back
there.
there, we have our first one. Very good. So be thinking. Something you've always wanted to ask, you know. That's good for public consumption.
I know I have an opinion, but I'd like your take on all of the near-death experiences that have been reported.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's a good question. It is really amazing that on a rational, logical level, we don't really know a lot about what happens when we die. We don't know for sure. But what's interesting is that a lot of people have passed from this life on the operating table, you know, or in an accident, all kinds of different ways. And they've come back and they've had stories to share and to tell. And what's so interesting is that these millions of people, most of the stories are very similar, you know, very similar. And so you start to see a thread, a golden thread of truth in all of this. And so I really feel like it's confirmation of because some things you just know intuitively, right? You just know it, you know. It's like I can't prove it logically maybe or with science, but I just know that it's true. It's like, for instance, you know, what's the worst thing that can happen to you? Well, you could end up being homeless on the street, and you could die with your face down in the gutter, but then you still go to heaven. Right? Right? So the truth of it is, all of us will go and see God when we die. In Unity, we don't believe that there's a good place and a bad place, you know, and the good people go to the good place, the bad people go to the bad place, and it's like, you know...
Shoo!
Yeah. That's a very judgmental, you know, and this idea of a God who would abandon the creation forever and ever and ever. What a horrible thing. That's the ultimate abandonment. And so I love to hear the stories of the near-death experiences. Has anyone here experienced a near-death experience? One? Anybody else? Two? I know I have. Three? Four? So there's several people that have experienced it. And so you get with these folks, you start talking to them about what they experience. It's fascinating. And you learn a lot. And so, you know, when you leave this life, you will go and you will be with God. Whatever that means. Right? And so, and somebody says, yes, but what about those horrible people who do horrible things? Somebody's got to make them pay. Well, guess what? Everybody will receive what they deserve. Right? And how many know what you deserve because you're a child of God is love and compassion and healing and restoration? Tell the person next to say, even you. Does that help at all? Okay, thank you. Oh, right here.
Hi, guys. I feel like I could use some support because I really feel like I'm an optimistic person, and I work at it.
Okay.
And it's becoming my nature. However, right now, for a couple months, I feel a frustration because I feel like bombarded by, you know, banks that lie to us, medical companies that are, you know, I just feel like there's so many places that I look, even in spite of my efforts, you know, this election, I feel like, whoa. Like, and, you know, but yet so many of us are becoming aware of it too.
Right.
But yet here we are still in it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I feel overwhelmed.
Yes, very good. And I know a lot of people are feeling that way. And here's the thing, you know, there are energy fields, okay? The government is a certain energy. The news is another energy. And there's a book called Morphic Fields where it talks about that there, you know, you and your family have your own field of energy because of familiarity, a feeling of familiarity and closeness and connection. And so all of these things are out there and that are taking place. The key of it is, here's the real key, because I think you're probably an emotionally connected person. You're connected to your emotions, and so you feel deeply, right? Anybody else besides me like that? Okay, a lot of folks are like that. So what you have to learn how to do is you have to learn how to just say, hey, that's their stuff. That's what they're experiencing. See, because we pray globally, we pray for everybody, but we act locally. See, I got to go ahead and live my life. You know, I have to go ahead and be happy. If I want to be happy, I need to go ahead and do my purpose for the reason that I'm here, and let those people do what they do. Let them argue it out. Let them, get all caught up in the morass and you see what I'm saying? Don't get connected into that field of energy. It's very easy to do. You turn on the news and all of a sudden you're just sucked right in. Oh, wow. Drama, drama, drama. You don't watch. I know. If you go on Facebook, if you social media, if you're on the computer, if you walk outside, there's somebody's because they're so serious. Well, here's the thing. The truth of it is, we're all going to die. All right? I didn't know if anybody ever told you that.
Welcome to the Uplifting Unity Charity.
Yes.
Face down in a gutter homeless.
But you're all going to die someday, but not today, right? Today's going to be fine. I'm going to be okay today. You see what I'm saying? You have to kind of cut through the energy, cut through the negativity and say, make your stand, and pitch your tent and say, this is who I am. This is why I'm here. This is what I'm going to do. You go do what you're going to do, but this is what I'm going to do. Somebody says, yes, but did you hear? I don't care. I really don't care. Because all it is drama. All they want is for people to think about it and to get caught up into the duality. They keep people on one side and the other side, and they're all, upset at each other. And then the election passes, and then, every 4 years people lose their minds. Right? I have decided I want to keep mine because I need it. I need my peace. You see what I'm saying? So you got to get strong and say, no, that's not me. That has nothing absolutely to do with me. And you shut yourself off from that and you say, you can observe it from a distance. You put psychological space in between you and what's going on out here. You see what I'm saying? Psychological space. Sometimes that might mean a little physical space. It's like whenever I see a snake, I put physical distance between me and the snake. It's not that I have anything against snakes. It's just, I don't pal around with snakes. You know what I mean? We don't have a lot in common. So I walk around. I give them their due. You see what did you do? Oh, okay. I let a snake be a snake. You see?
Waiting for a break.
Okay. Would you like to say something?
As a matter of fact, I would.
Please share.
I would like to say that this is why Jesus said to us to be in the world, but not of the world.
Right.
Because it was no different in Jesus' time. Jesus still dealt with corrupt politicians, corrupt banking systems. They had all of that then too. We just are exposed to it more because of our instant communication to everything. But yes, we have to distance ourselves from it, but it's also important to remember that we are in this physical world to do what is ours to do. And what is ours to do but to express the Christ and to be love. So that's how we have to remember to show up. And you're doing a great job of that when you say, I'm a pretty optimistic person. I tend to be that way most of the time. And so even when you see things because it's an ego world, so all of those systems out here are driven by the ego. And so you can see where the ego leads us. It leads us into these kind of situations. So when you see something that comes up, I think it's important for us to send our love to those energies and to those people involved in it, and never get in a place where we separate ourselves from those people. Because the minute we say, they're this, they're wrong, I'm separating myself from the oneness. So it's, important to just observe, send love, do what is ours to do to let our Christ light shine, and
Just remember that we're in this world, but we're not of it. We don't have to participate in those things that
Right.
bring us down.
Absolutely.
We don't have to play with the snake.
Right.
There we go. We tied it back to you. Tied it back to you.
She's good. Okay. Does that help? Yeah.
Hey, Javon.
Hi, everybody. So my question today is, in both of you all and your vast amount of reading and experience, my question is about time. Certainly, I came here to Unity at a really odd time in my life, soaked it up like a sponge, still carry those principles with me. I mean, it's part of me. It's part of my life wherever I go. But my question becomes time, and I think that's where my little bit of overwhelming happens, because there's a lot going on all the time, and just trying to sift through some of those things to really slow it down a little bit, or, I mean, times to just break away and take a moment. The peace is there, the happiness is there, the giving spirit that I have still always there. I mean, that's just me.
Good.
But the time is a factor. So.
Are you
just
saying you don't have
any of
enough
that-
time?
Well, and
What are you saying?
it feels that way.
Okay.
But then I start to question it. Like, is it that I'm putting emphasis in different areas that doesn't need to be? And I focus in on those things, and it feels right. It's not that I'm in a bad place or I feel like overwhelmed with things I have to do, or maybe this is not making sense, but it just seems like time for me right now is racing like crazy.
Okay,
I just want it
okay.
to slow down a little bit so I can enjoy some of it.
Beautiful.
So part of what happens, I think, is when we get into a mindset where time is a limited commodity or a limited thing, and there's not going to be enough of it, is that we create a space of lack around it. Okay, and we create a vibration of lack around it. And so it's like there's never enough. There's never enough. But if I can embrace that being in the present moment, then I don't have to worry about that thing. I'm just here in the present moment, then I can enter into a space where time is abundant. And I think the second thing, one of the things that we've been stating a lot over the last several months is we're in a period of time where our spiritual journey has to take priority over everything. And if you're not carving out the time in your day and in your week to pray and meditate, especially meditate, get into some reading that will strengthen you. And by all means, you know, I think sometimes we in Unity think, oh, well, you know, I know everything I can read. I don't need to go to church. This is where we get that community support, where we come and we strengthen one another, and we remind ourselves that there are people that are in this boat with us, you know, that we're all here for one another. And we need that right now. We need to be in communion with one another and in a community. So I think if you're not doing that, the other stuff will absorb you and take you over. And so it's almost like you have to just set an appointment with yourself. You know, today, Tuesday, I'm going to set aside a half an hour right here to do this. And then tonight, I'm going to set aside 15 minutes to do this. And then whatever, I'm sorry, I can't commit to do that Sunday. I need to be there with my community. I just think that's important. And I think when you give your attention to those things, the rest of it kind of takes care of itself. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's all about intention and priorities. You know, what's really, and sometimes we have to write it down, you know, make a list and say, what's really important to me? You know, what feeds me? Because I've got to be okay, you know, or else my job is affected, my family's affected, everybody around me is affected. I got to be good. You know, I got to be well. I've got to be strong. I've got to feel good. So what do I need to do for me to take care of me so that I can handle all the rest of this stuff? You see what I'm saying? And when you start putting you first in that way, then everything else, Jesus said, seek first the kingdom of God, Where is the kingdom of God? It's within us. So if I'm going within, spending time meditating, praying, contemplating, reflecting, reading, those kinds of things, I'm feeding my soul, I'm feeding my spirit, and I'm being made strong, you know. And then I can go out there and I hear about drama and I say, oh, more drama, there you go. And I can laugh it off, you know, or I can say, well, hey, you know, stuff happens, you know, and go on, because we live in a society where everything is just bombarded on us. I mean, if a plane goes down, you know, somewhere in another country, we hear about it instantly, you know. And you can say, well, we know that those souls have entered another dimension in which we all will at some point in time in our lives, right?
There are some writers also that are telling us that time is literally speeding up, that there is something going on where time is literally speeding up. And I think we come back to that. If I don't want to get sucked into that vibration of feeling like I'm overwhelmed because there's not enough time, it's really just important to stay in the present moment. Because the minute we step out of that, then we're just in that craziness. So. And
find time to do the things you love to do, that you really want to do. Why live your whole life doing stuff you didn't want to do, you don't like doing, and then at the end of your life, you know, all the people that you did it for, they say, oh, thanks. You know? And so it's you know, live your life doing the things that really feed you, that, you know. And then here's the thing. You will naturally be a blessing and a light to others. You just can't help it. Because if you're feeding yourself, then you're full. And if you get full, you got something to give. Anybody else? Oh, right back there. Karen.
My question is about, we're always talking about teaching and releasing,
yes.
Not letting it, you know, wander around you so much. When does it become releasing, and when does it become, you know, like if you take over somebody's lesson, that it becomes your lesson, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know exactly when to really let go of it. You know,
you're talking about other people and their
right.
stuff?
Yeah, when people are coming up and asking for help.
Ah, I see. Yeah. Well, I look at it like, if I can help somebody, I will help them. If I can't help them, I will refer them out to somebody else and say, you know, you need to go over here, you need to talk to this person, you need to go and do this thing. Because I can only do what I can do. Because if I'm trying to do something that's not really mine to do, the way you can tell is because you'll either get frustrated, you'll get angry, you'll get caught up in it, you'll get stuck. And so if I'm stuck, it's not really mine to do. And so at that point, you realize, you say, oh, I could have had a V8, right? And then you back away from it, and you move on with your, you know, and you refer the person to another path or whatever that they need in that moment. Does that make sense? Okay, good.
And I think you know when you're going too far, if it is encroaching on your own self-care, like if you're doing things that take away from your ability to take care of yourself, you're definitely doing too much. Hanging on to it too long.
Absolutely.
And, you know, one of the things probably, too, is you look for patterns in people's lives. And if you know that it's a pattern, then it's their lesson. And you don't want to encroach on that too much, because whether it seems hard to us or whatever, lessons are lessons. And we just have to let that be.
Absolutely.
Speaking of patterns.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
So my life, I've been in this pattern where I'm always like, ooh, I want to learn about this. I want to do this. I want to figure this out. How to, you know. And so I'll do it. I'll take the course. I'll pass. I'll get the certification. And then it's like, okay, what's next? And I won't do it. Like, I won't push I won't go through it. And my lovely husband keeps, you know, bringing this point to me and over and over and over again, because I'm constantly wanting to learn more. But I like so much stuff. Mm-hmm.
Some of us are just lifelong learners.
Right? Yeah. I mean, so is it bad for me, or is that just my lesson? Like, I need to eventually, you know, do I keep learning? Do I keep growing? Do I keep taking courses?
What do you think?
I think I do. I like it. It's fun, but I also know.
What does he think? No.
Follow through.
He wants me to follow through and keep going with it,
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
starting over. But I don't know. I think maybe I just get bored, or maybe I'm like, well, this can't be it. Maybe there's more. And, how, I don't know. I don't know what my question really is, but maybe is it okay to keep building or keep trying new things? And can you do that your whole life? Or do you have to decide exactly what it is that you want to be when you grow up?
Well, that's a good question. That's a very good question. Because I think a lot of people, feel like you have to be a specialist. You have to specialize in this one thing and do it the rest of your life. Well, that would be boring, because I'm more, I'm a generalist. I like this and this. When I was a kid, there was a while I wanted to be an actor, and act. And then there was a while I wanted to be a rock star, And then there was a while I wanted to be a comedian. And then
He still wants to be all three of those things.
Thank you. And then I wanted to help people, I had this desire to help people. So here I'm a minister. And I get to do all of those things, right?
Well, sort of.
Yeah, how well that you do them is all relative. But yeah, and I think that, as you engage, but always as you pick up the tools and you learn these different things, then you say, okay, are there people around me that need this? How can I reach out to people and use this to help folks? And as long as you're doing that and you're putting it out there, and because I think we're all lifelong learners, if you stop learning, you stop growing, then you're dying, And so, but a point will come. You'll reach a point of saturation where you're saying, I've got enough. What am I supposed to do with it? You see what I'm saying? And when you reach that point, then, that's when all of those tools will come. Because I know in my early life, I made a lot of mistakes. I fell down a lot, and made the wrong choices, so to speak. Well, you don't really make wrong choices. You discover new ways to do things. How do you invent a light bulb? Well, you see that there's 1,000 ways not to invent a light bulb, right? And then one day the light comes on. And so when the light comes on, then you move in that direction. But it's following the guidance, following the synchronicity. Were you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Follow the joy, the leading, and just keep putting it out there, being an energetic being, and you cannot help but fulfill the reason, the purpose, and destiny that you're here for. Make sense?
And I was going to say that we're like probably kin sisters, because I'm the exact same way. When I was in college, it took me forever to decide on a major.
She's still in school.
Because I wanted to do it all. And still, when I'm in conversation with people and I hear little things, that'd be really interesting to do. So what I have learned to do for me is to check in with myself. Is that mine to do? Really, is that mine to do? Yeah, it sounds like fun. It sounds interesting, but is it really mine to do? And I really have to take that into meditation sometimes and sit with that, because like you, I will jump on, oh yeah, I want to sign up for that course. Oh yeah, I want to do that. Oh yeah, I want to learn
Look at the shiny things.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
A few minutes ago, I had a question.
Yes.
But now it's kind of been answered, but now it's a deeper question. Every time, like you, I find something I'm passionate about. When I volunteered for domestic violence, I ended up being a lead case manager in a domestic violence shelter. When I started volunteering in a nursing home, I ended up being a coordinator for Alzheimer's and dementia. I mean, everything I do, I get a new passion for.
Right.
And when I moved to Greenville, I kept thinking, what is my purpose here? And then I'm finding more passions. But each thing I learn helps with the new passion that I have.
Yes.
But do you ever finally find that one thing and keep that your passion? Because I'm not running out of energy. I'm just wondering if I'm going to run out of passions.
Yeah.
Well,
No.
remember, if you don't future forecast and you stay in the moment, then you're in your passion in that moment. I mean, right now, this moment, this is my passion, and that's all that matters. I don't have to think about the future and what passion that brings, because right now, here it is, and I'm in it, and I love it, and it's my passion.
And is it sort of like the universe or God will give you the purpose or the place? I mean, it will present itself to help you guide.
Obviously.
Oh, heck yes.
You just said it did.
Yeah, I mean, if you're flowing from one passion to another, then yes, you're just letting it unfold. And who says we have to have more than one passion in our lifetime? And who says that one passion becomes our entire goal and that was what we were supposed to accomplish in this lifetime? We can follow through on lots of passions and be that generalist instead of a, I'm sorry, Johnny.
But specialists are good at what they do.
Yeah.
If I go to a brain surgeon, I want to know.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's just being passionate and being present with what you're passionate about in the moment.
Yeah. But it's good. It's good to be passionate. You know? It is. It feels good to be passionate about things. And it's like, you know, if you put passion in whatever you do, if you're going to take a day off, really be passionate about it. I'm taking the day off. I'm going to enjoy myself.
So, Melissa.
Whatever it is.
When you look at all the things that you're thinking about getting involved in, that's a good guide. Or can I really get passionate about this? Yeah. I mean, am I doing this just because it sounds like fun or it sounds like it's interesting? Or can I really get passionate about this? If I think about, you know, working with patients that have Alzheimer's, can I really put my whole into that and think about doing that and it feeding me and me having something to... Can I get passionate about that?
Yeah.
That might be a good guide.
Absolutely. Right there.
Thank you. Speaking of passions, and as a newbie, what are the passions of this church, specifically in relation to the needs of our community?
To be a haven of peace. To be a haven of peace and safety.
Yeah. That's our first goal, is to provide a place, a safe place for people to be so they can explore their spirituality. That's our first goal. There are groups like the Salvation Army and other groups who do wonderful serving works, and we all volunteer and we help and we give to those charities in our own ways. But our main focus here is for spiritual growth. Because it is my passion and my belief that we've got to have enough people on this planet who have an enlightened way of looking at life, an enlightened perception, and change of consciousness. That's what's going to change the world. You know, now it doesn't mean that we can't go to the soup kitchen and, you know, hand out food and do those kinds of things. We should be doing those things. That feeds our soul. We should be doing that. But our primary focus is to help people grow spiritually. Because I believe that's what the world really needs more than anything else. Jesus said, the poor you will always have with you. Okay? There will always be poor. There will always be those in need. And yes, we should give to those. But at the same time, if all I'm doing is giving food to somebody, I'm not really feeding them in a spiritual way. And I'm really not fulfilling my God-given purpose, which is to feed people spiritually. Because when you feed people spiritually, they get a consciousness change, then they will change their life and make things better. You see what I'm saying? So we need more of that in the world. And I'm not ashamed to say that is our primary focus. That is our true focus. And if we can just do that as well as we can, then the other stuff will take care of itself. And we'll be able to help, you know, the poor and the needy and the homeless and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But if I'm just out there on the street trying to help the homeless, there's only one of me. And I can only give so many sandwiches, you know. I can only give so many blankets. I can only do so much. And then I wear out because I'm not feeding myself spiritually. So that's the I guess the primary thing in this whole lesson today.
Tell her, not me. Tell her.
I'm talking to everybody. Especially you. No, I'm just kidding. But our primary focus is our spiritual life, you know. And that's where we have to really... Okay, one more.
Well, no, it's not. Well,
Well, make a statement.
What you're saying is great, except that I think what you mean is by your personality, by what we don't want to go out and preach it. That's what I'm saying. We don't want to go out and preach on the corner.
Oh, you're talking about proselytizing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to separate. We need to live it and let other people see it.
Yeah.
Right.
But we do want to be a community here where people can come in and feel like they're not going to be judged. They don't have to worry about being criticized or being damned and shamed and all of those things. It was just the opposite. We want it to be a healing place where they can come and be healed of all of that. That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So are you full of it? Oh, sorry, you said filled with it. Same thing. On that note, we are out of time.
We're done, yes.